So I had a request come through from one of my viewers of he wanted to know more about how to take the door panel off. So today we're going to do that, and this actually kind of works out in my favor, because after doing the speaker LED install, I noticed that there was a wire that ended up getting caught between the door panel and the speaker. So every time that the speaker would hit, or sorry, the LEDs would hit, you could see that wire, and it's just one of those little minor annoyances that I'm going to take care of today. So let's head over here, and I'm going to show you guys what tools you might need to get this done. So right off the bat, the trim tool, I definitely recommend picking up one of those. If you don't have a trim tool, if you don't have the money to go and get a trim tool, then you can use a screwdriver. It's just I wouldn't recommend it. It's up to you though. If you feel confident in your abilities, then go for it. I prefer to use a trim tool so I know I don't scuff anything up. Moving on, we've got a regular screwdriver. This is a stubby. You don't need a stubby, but I've got a stubby. Don't make fun of my short screwdriver. A 10mm socket on a socket wrench. And then just for a little backup, I've got a precision screwdriver set that we can use if necessary. I don't expect to use anything other than maybe one of these smaller flathead screwdrivers for prying things up. So to start with, what we got to do is we got to remove this bit of trim here. So to do that, there is a little notch located down here. You'll take your trim tool or screwdriver, if that's what you chose to use, and you will try to get it inside of here, and you'll begin to hear the clips inside pop out. So just exert a little bit of force on it. Don't give it too much, but it will take some effort to get these clips to pop loose. Just work your way all the way around and down here, and it should just come right off. But I mean, it's really not that difficult to do at this point for me. I've done this so many damn times that my clips are probably worn out from me having to take this stuff off of here. But so that's your first panel removed. If you wanted to paint this and do a two-tone like I did, there's little clips inside of here that you can remove or pry up, and then this whole white piece will come out. Alright, so behind that panel there were several 10mm nuts, some screws, and then some recessed ones inside of here that are 10mm as well. The only things that you have to remove in order to remove the whole door panel right now is the 3 recessed screws in here. So when you pop those out, you'll be able to pull the door panel off. There's only a few more things that hold the full panel in, but as for this section here, the only things that hold this on are these 3 right here. So we'll go ahead and pull those, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so with those 3 bolts removed from the 3 recessed slots in here, the next step is to go up to this cup, and there's a little flap here that you got to pry up with a screwdriver. So with that flap pulled up, there's a screw underneath, as you just saw. You're going to want to remove that screw. Alright, so with that screw removed, we can move on to my least favorite part about pulling one of these door panels off, and that is getting this little panel right here off. It's kind of a pain, because you gotta wedge your screwdriver up into this corner here, and you'll end up probably scratching something trying to get this thing out of here. I'm gonna see if maybe I can't, because I got a little gap up in this corner here. I'm gonna see if I can't get a precision screwdriver inside there and wedge it out. If you have something small or slender that you can slide up in there, I would recommend doing that. So let's see if we can get it in and out of there. So I'm trying this live for you guys. I'll take my precision screwdriver and I'm wedging it up in here, and we're gonna see if I can't pull this thing out. I'm gonna end up hurting something. Let's see, maybe on this side here I can pry it up. This is probably gonna be one of those things I can't do with one hand. And that's what she said. But I'll show y'all what I did after I can get it out. I'll kind of walk you through it so I can give you a better idea as to how to get this done. Okay, so that actually turned out to be a lot easier with the precision screwdriver set. So what I did, and it worked out surprisingly well, was I used one hand to pull the handle back, like so. And then in this corner, I'm gonna go ahead and push this back in so I can show y'all exactly. So in this corner, I kind of applied pressure, pushing down and back. And then with the precision screwdriver, I came in just up here and I just kind of pried on it a little bit, and it gave and it came out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it again, get it out of there, and show y'all what's behind it. Alright, so behind here there is a screw. So you'll pull the screw out, and then that'll be the last thing that's holding this door on aside from the clips. And I'm going to give y'all one last little tip before we go ahead and do that, and that is that up here in this corner you have a little panel, and this panel, when you go to remove the door, it's going to try to adjust itself because the door kind of fits into it. So we can take this panel off using our trim tool, and I don't think we have to wait. I think we can go ahead and do it right now too. I don't want to drop this thing on the ground, but if you take your trim tool, you should be able to pop this panel off. At least do it before we go and put the door back on. That way, once you put the panel back on, then you can put this on last. Because if you don't, then it's possible to not line up this part of the door correctly. And when you do that, when the window rolls down, it'll cause a squeaking sound that, believe it or not, gets really annoying. Really quick, because it was such an easy way of doing it, I ended up wedging my pry tool underneath like this, and just kind of applying some pressure, and the whole thing just pops out. So this will also be something for those of you looking maybe to replace your side mirror. I believe it's just these three here, and then you remove this clip, and this outside should be able to come right off. I've never done that. I might have to do it just because I'm seeing it now. But looks like it's just 3 screws there, and whatever this here might be, I'm not sure. But yeah, it looks like 3 screws and a little clip that controls it. So, alright, we're going to move on to the next part of this video, rather than talking about future videos. So the next part is, we're going to take our trim tool, and you're going to run it down along here, and you're going to apply some pressure. You're wanting to pull the door outwards towards you, the panel. And once you go around, you're going to start popping out clips. And that one there actually popped out almost everything along the side. So I'm almost ready to pull the whole panel off. So at this point, I can probably just use my hand. And there it is. So now the door is fully loose. Alright, so I wanted to go ahead and show you guys some stuff. As you can see, there's the wiring for my speaker LEDs that I did. It's not exactly the prettiest stuff, but it never gets seen, so I really don't care. A couple of things in here. You got clips. You're going to want to pull these out. If I can get the camera to situate right. Yeah, those 2 clips there for wiring harnesses. That's your window control, or sorry, that's your lock. Yeah, it's your door lock, and your side mirror controls right there. Some models may have more clips than this. They may have more options than I did back when I bought this thing when it first came out in 2012. So if you see wires going to your door panel, just try to get the clips out. Next up, you have the locking mechanism for the door. So there's your handle and your lock all in one there. I'm going to try to hold this thing up with one foot. So to remove this, you'll notice there is a little push thing right here, and that was all the pressure I needed to push it, or to take it off. So lastly, for me, there is another wiring harness down here. So you'll pull that, and the door panel, so long as you don't have some speaker LED wiring, will come completely off. So I'm gonna hang this back up here and we'll wrap up the video. Right, reinstallation is easy. Align the top of this with the window and it should slide down. You'll have this over here and you should be able to now put this little panel back on where it came from. So if you want to test the theory of why I told you to take this off, leave it on whenever you take the door panel off and you'll see what happens. This thing will start to bend and it'll make replacing the door a little bit harder. So if you take it off, it takes 2 seconds to take it off. I just say do it anyway. Next, you're going to just want to start going around the door and pushing in everywhere where there was clips. That way it's nice and resealed back on. So now everything's on. The last parts are to replace any screws you removed. So there's one up here, there's one down here, and then the 3 recessed here. I'm going to go ahead and do those, and I'm going to show you how to replace the last 2 panels that we got down here, my blue one and the one that goes in the handle. Alright, so with all the screws replaced, the next steps are to replace this panel and this one here. So this one's very easy. You just want to get it back in behind here and go all the way around, make sure you got all the clips replaced. There's only 2 in there that would clip in, but just make sure you got it fully seated. So this one here, pretty simple. I always start from the top, lining this up first, and then you should just apply pressure and it should click on. Make sure it's fully seated on here. And it's on there. Alright. So So you just kind of pop it into place and all of it should realign and click in. Just make sure that you start from the top and get this section here all lined up first, and before you start banging on stuff, because you don't want to break anything, you know, obviously. So that's it for this door. Oh, last thing, a little flap. All you do, you push it down. That was simple, right? That's probably the hardest part, getting that thing up and pushing it back down. So that's how you remove and replace the door panel. So I'm going to show you guys the passenger side real quick. Alright, so this is the only side that I actually needed to do today, and it's because inside of here, and there ain't no way you're going to see it, but there is a wire from when I made my speaker LEDs that's just kind of hanging in there. So this side is essentially the same as the driver's side. One of the only differences that you're going to find is that there's no cup here for a screw to be. So you've only got the 3 recessed bolts in here, and then the one hiding behind this panel here in the handle. With those removed, this door will come right out. And once more, I recommend that when you do it, you take this little section here off, and that's about it. I mean, it's very simple, and it goes exactly the same as the driver's side. Quick, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the passenger side rear panel, and you're going to notice a couple of things similar to the driver's side panel, such as the cup in the door with the flap that has a screw underneath it, and then also you got this up here. Other than that, I mean, you remove those two screws, you should just be able to pop this whole panel off, maybe say after removing this up here and ensuring there's no screws in it. That said, I have no interest in doing this back here. I prefer it to look black. You know, I'm fine with that look. Mostly because I don't really know if this actually comes out of here or not. I don't know if that's a separate piece, and it just never has been one of those things where I wanted to take care of it or take it off and check. And mostly that's because if I was to do this one, then I would be obligated to do the one on the opposite side, and to try to do that one over there would require me to take off. I believe you got to remove the rear, the bench back here. I believe you got to remove this in order to access some of the screws and bolts that are on that side. And then also there's more larger panel removal that takes place back there. And it's just not one of those things that interests me, because it just seems like a lot of work, and a lot more work than I need to do for just to paint speaker grills. Alright guys, real quick before I go, I just want to say I appreciate all the likes and the comments and the overall feedback that I've been getting. You guys really seem to enjoy watching my how-to videos, so if you got some questions, you know, just let me know, and I really don't mind answering them. I enjoy it, actually. So if you guys got a video that you guys want me to make, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to, you know. So alright guys, thanks, and I will see you guys in the next video.